I heard you say earlier something I think that is really fascinating. You said that you see that there are parallels between
Yes.
Christianity and some of these traditional practices and beliefs from different tribes. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what you see some of those parallels being.
All right. Jesus Christ taught, that we should love each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that his basis for the things that he taught came from the Old Testament, from the Ten Commandments. And the Ten Commandments are based on laws that, were things that we needed to do as we connected with God. And then the other parts of the Ten Commandments are things that we're supposed to do as we relate to human beings. And that many of the things that were taught by Jesus are also taught by our Indian people. My grandmother, whenever we would have visitors that would come, her practice was that we offered them, that she would offer them, I wouldn't. Because she would offer food, and she would offer a place to stay, and that if she offered food, that meant that I was going to eat last and I wasn't going to get as much as I usually would get. And she would also offer a place to stay. So that meant my bed was going to go to the guest. And that if it was summertime, we were going to have to sleep outside. If it was wintertime, we were going to sleep, close to the stove, the wood stove. And so those kind of different things, just treating somebody with respect and honor, Jesus Christ taught that. And among our Indian people, that is still taught today. I can go to a powwow, and that sometimes I'm more honored at a powwow than I am, going to some of our other churches. And that they see that I'm a man of God, and they honor me in that way. But I've gone to some churches, and sometimes because of my personality and the things that I've done, that sometimes they don't want, to actually, give me that much honor and respect.
That begs those questions, but I'm going to maybe leave them off. I'll ask you about them over.
Yes, we can do that over coffee or something.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, it's very interesting. I have myself wondered about questions about hospitality in the past, and it sounds to me like you're really emphasizing that dimension, the way that we care for others, even though they may not be part of our immediate group, as a key feature of not just a native Christianity, but of a native way of thinking.
Now, I teach in Tecumseh Public Schools, Title VII Indian Education Director, and next week I'm going to be teaching all of our 8th graders about Indian removal. And so I try to tie a lot of different things about, the person of Tecumseh, plus some of the things, that he stood for. Tecumseh was a man that was trying to keep our Indian people alive, because as the Europeans continued to be able to move, westward, that meant more and more Indian people were going to die. And so his plan was to try to organize all of the tribes and to be able to be fighting force to be able to keep, the Europeans from crossing the Mississippi River. And that was his plan, to unite everyone. Because in one speech that he gave to the British, because he fought with the British, in one of his speeches he lists about 5 or 6 different tribes that were no longer in existence because of European contact. Now, going back, to the parallels, Tecumseh, one of the things that he taught his people to do, he taught his people that you should acknowledge every man. I never did know that until I read that in some of the literature about Tecumseh. But my grandmother and my grandfather always taught me, you make sure that you acknowledge everybody that you come in contact with. And that came from, the teachings of Tecumseh. And that is not far from, the teachings of Jesus Christ, to be able to respect everyone and to be able to love people.
The least among them.
That's right.
Right. It seems to me like, in my experiences in Indian churches, one of the things, I'll ask myself the question maybe, and I'll just ask you to see if it resonates with you. There is over and over again an emphasis on making sure that everyone in the congregation is well taken care of, that there is always enough to eat. And I've always felt like Indian churches have made a real effort to reach out to the less fortunate, that the emphasis on helping people in their material circumstances is absolutely of the utmost importance. Sometimes I feel like in non-native churches, and I don't mean to be disparaging, I feel like there's a little bit more emphasis on the idea that people need to work their way out of trouble. Whereas in Indian churches, I feel like first and foremost, people have to get fed. Does that seem?
Yeah, I think so, because as Americans, we have taught ourselves that we need to be able to pull ourselves, our own bootstraps, and be able, just to be able to get after it, and that the American work ethic, that is something, that is very, very prominent, and that's not bad. It's just that we as Indian people, we're a tribal people, and that our tribes in the past, if they were going out on a hunt, they were going to go out on the hunt, and that the food is going to be divided with everyone,
right?
And that everyone is taken care of. That was the purpose of a tribe and a group, to be able to take care of everyone, and not to be able to exclude anyone. And that's something, that I think is carried on, within our Indian congregations, and you've seen us eat, and that we eat way too much, and that we have,
well, it's too good not to.
It's very good.
Yeah.
But we eat way too much, and as a Baptist church, we fit into that category, very easily. But we do take care of people.